Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're not subscribing yet, I'm Dr. Jill, and today we're going to be making some reduced fat mini peanut butter pies with some low fat chocolate ganache as well. And the cool thing about this, today I'm going to be using Cracker Jacks in the crust. So it's going to be a unique twist on a peanut butter pie. I love Cracker Jacks. I've always loved Cracker Jacks since I was little, and I thought what better way to use these than in a peanut butter pie crust. I'm going to start by blending 3/4 cup of Cracker Jacks in my little mini processor and pulverizing those to a fine powder. Once we do that, we can move on to the next step. We're going to head on over to the mixing bowl. So in my mixing bowl, I've combined 1 stick of softened butter along with 1/2 cup of powdered sugar. Once that's combined, I'm going to go ahead and add 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour. And then I'm going to add the 3/4 cup of ground Cracker Jacks that we did in our food processor. Lastly to that, I'm going to add 1 pinch of salt. And finally, 1½ teaspoons of vanilla extract. Once this is combined, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it in plastic wrap and put it in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. Now for the fun part, the peanut butter pie filling, which is going to be reduced fat. I'm going to start with 1/2 cup of cold water, and we're going to sprinkle 1 envelope of gelatin on that water. And we're going to let it sit for a few minutes while we add everything else to the bowl here. So we're going to do 1 cup of creamy natural peanut butter. You can use chunky if you want, or if you want a smooth pie, you just use the smooth. To that, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, 6 packets of Splenda or Splenda generic, which is sucralose. So you have sugar fiber, so you don't have any calories from this. So we're trying to reduce the calories from sugar and also from the fat. And speaking of fat, next up we have the fat-free cream cheese. 1 brick of that. That's going to be 8 ounces. Now you can see the gelatin has congealed. We're going to add that to the bowl. Next we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Again, I don't measure mine usually, I just like to add vanilla as much as I can. After we mix this up, we're going to fold in 1 container of this light whipped topping. This is starting to look really good and it smells awesome. We're ready to fold in that whipped topping now. I'm going to just get this incorporated. We want that nice and airy, creamy peanut butter pie. Such a pretty color too. It's that light brown, gorgeous color, smells wonderful. We're going to be able to pile these pies high. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put this in the refrigerator. We're going to get out the crust and get those little pie crusts baked while this is in the refrigerator, thickening up. So I'm preheating my oven to 350 degrees. The only tool I'm going to use for this is going to be a little knife. So I'm going to divide my dough roughly into 6 sections. Roll them into balls. That way I can see the size. You could weigh these if you wanted to make sure they're all identical, but I'm just going to eyeball it. Looks like this one needs a little more. But you want to just get these, you get the idea, just kind of all evened out and in about the same size. And then we're going to go ahead and squish them into the pie dish. If you've got the aluminum kind, you have to be careful not to bend your pie dish. But if you've got a little tart pan, you can use that as well. I like to make my pies look rustic. They don't have to be perfect looking, but if you want to make yours more perfect looking, you could actually leave this in the refrigerator a little longer because it is still a little bit on the sticky side. So you're just filling in the base of those dishes, you see like I'm doing here. And you could start by making this into a flat disc before you put it in the aluminum tin. But these are gonna want to puff up on you too when you're baking. So you're gonna have to watch them. Maybe poke some holes in these with a fork about halfway through when you start to see that they puff up, because we definitely want to have room for all that delicious peanut butter in there. That peanut butter filling is amazing. So let's throw these in the oven at 350. So to make the chocolate ganache, probably one of the simplest things here of the recipe is going to be just basically 8 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips or the equivalent, if that's what you have on hand. And then we're going to use 1/2 cup of steaming hot, fat-free half and half that I put in the microwave for 2.5 minutes. It did start to boil at the end, so you might want to watch it at the end of the 2-minute mark. And basically just going to pour that over the chocolate, and that's how we're going to get our chocolate to melt. So here you have that nice smooth chocolate. It's going to be perfect for pouring over those pies. You can see these like to puff up quite a bit. I go in there with my fork. I just get the air out of there. About halfway through, we want to make sure there's room for all that peanut butter filling. But they collapse really nicely, you can see. 18 minutes is the perfect amount of time. You can see how nice and brown the edges are on that. So I'm going to say let those cool at least for 30 minutes. You definitely want them to be at room temperature or even cooler before you fill them. Okay, so now let's assemble these beautiful pies that we have here. The crusts are cooled down. What I'm going to do, I have a hammer, have my Cracker Jacks. I'm going to throw a few in a little baggie. And we're going to hammer these just so they're crushed a little bit. I don't want them pulverized like I did for the crust. But these are going to be our little garnish too in the end. So we're just going to lightly pound these. And we have our perfect garnish there. I think it's easier to maneuver with this pie filling with a small spoon. So I'm going to use a small spoon for that. Just drizzle a little bit in there because I think we're going to have some leftover. That way everybody gets that extra surprise when they're eating, especially if you like chocolate. Again, I don't mind being messy with this. I think the messier the better sometimes. So we're going to plop that peanut butter pie filling on top. Mile high peanut butter pie, we can call this. It smells so good. I don't know if I can wait till after dinner tonight to try this. Now you can wait and do the ganache on top when it's time to serve these and let people put their own on top. Or you could actually go ahead and pour some on there now. You see we're almost out of that pie filling here. A little left. That could be your bonus. So let me show you just what one of these would look like with ganache on top. If you want these to look more professional, you can put them in a baggie with the tip snipped off and actually pipe these into your pie dish. But I like I said, the rustic look. You want to pop this out of the tin. And you could do it like that. Mini peanut butter pies, perfect for a fall dessert, a wonderful dessert.